Okay, if you open up to page 26 in your 3.4 packet, we're going to go over some geometry word problems. Now, the first one is a review. We did problems like this before, where we're talking about the supplement, the complement, etc. Now, you know the supplement is two angles that add up to 180. The complement is two angles that add up to 90. So if it ever talks about the complement, we know angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 90. So I have to figure out what angle 1 is. We don't know what angle 1 is, but we know angle 2 is 14 times its complement, which is angle 1. So if we add these together, we get 15x equals 90. So if 15x equals 90, divide by 15, divide by 15, x equals 6. So if x equals 6, then we know this is 6, and 6 times 14 is 84. So the key to this is to define angle 1, angle 2, and then set them equal to 90. Okay, let's look at number 3. Now, number 3 talks about one of the congruent angles of an isosceles triangle measures 51. Find the measures of the other angles. So to do this, you need to know that a triangle has 3 angles, right? And inside a triangle, the 3 angles always add up to 180 degrees. But this one throws another little piece of information at us, and it says it's an isosceles triangle. An isosceles triangle is a triangle that has 2 sides that are congruent. These little marks mean congruent. And if these sides are congruent, that means the base angles, or these 2 angles at the bottom, are congruent, and that's a sign that the angles are congruent. So congruent means they're equal in measure. So that means if this angle is x, then this angle is x. Okay? But in this case, it says the unknown is not the 2 congruent angles. It says that one of the congruent angles is 51. Well, if this is 51 degrees, then this is 51 degrees. This is our unknown. Now, we know angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 equals 180 degrees. In this case, angle 1 is x, angle 2 is 51, angle 3 is 51, and it equals 180 degrees. So now, I say x plus 102 equals 180, subtract 102, subtract 102, x equals 78. So, we know that in a triangle, angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 equals 180. And we also now know that if it's an isosceles triangle, 2 of the angles are congruent. Okay, now number 4 gets even more complicated. It tells us the first angle in a triangle measures x degrees. Then it talks about the second angle and the third angle. Okay? So, before I even begin, or the way I'm going to begin, is I'm going to say angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, and total. Okay, I don't know what angle 1 is, I don't know what angle 2 is, I don't know what angle 3 is, but I know if I add them together, because it's a triangle, it's going to equal 180. So, the first one they say measures x. The second angle measures twice the first angle. So how would we show twice the first? 2x. The third angle is 5 more than the second. So 5 more than the second would be 2x plus 5. Now in terms of x, if I add these all together, that becomes 5x plus 5 equals 180. So now I do minus 5, 5x equals 175, x equals 35, and if x is 35, 2x would be 2 times 35, which is 70, and angle 3 would be 2 times 35, which is 70, plus 5 is 75. And I'm going to add these together, 10, carry the 1, and it turns out to be 180. So those are the 3 angle measurements. Okay? Now, let's look at number 7. Okay? Number 7 says, again, we have angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, and total. Number 7 says the second angle of a triangle is 9 less than 3 times the first. So we're going to let the first be x. And how would we show 9 less than? Remember, less than means put it second, 3 times the first. So this is 9 less than 3 times the first. The third angle is half the first. Okay, annoying, but doable. So I have to use a fraction. Now this is where it's a little tricky, but you guys know how to deal with fractions. So what's 1x plus 3x? It's 4x. Plus a half would be 4.5x. 4.5x minus 9 equals 180. Now, since this is an equation, we don't work with mixed numbers when we work with manipulating fractions. So I'm going to write this as 9/2 x minus 9 equals 180. First thing I'm going to do is add 9 to both sides. So let me add 9 to both sides. So I get 9/2 x equals 189. Now I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 because I want to get rid of that nasty little fraction. So this becomes 9x equals 378. Now I just have to divide both sides by 9, and that happens to be 42. So if x is 42, half of that is 21. And 3 times 42 is 126, and 126 minus 9 is 117. And let's see if this adds up. And look, it does. It adds up to 180. So again, what you're doing here is you're always setting angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 equal to 180 if it's talking about a triangle. And then you do what you can about the relationship information it gives you to define your unknowns. And that's the end of this video.